Welcome to the Love Rekindled Show, where real stories, heartfelt advice, and expert guidance come together to help you create richer, more meaningful relationships. Meet your certified relationship coaches, Margot and Antonio Taylor. Through transformative coaching, informative workshops, and special events, the Love Rekindled community empowers families and couples to grow closer, communicate openly, and embrace the power of love. This is the Love Rekindled Show. Let's begin.
Welcome to the Love Rekindled Show. Tonight, we're diving into one of the biggest challenges in relationships. Not a lack of love, but a lack of understanding. The truth is, men and women can be deeply committed to each other and still feel disconnected. They can live in the same house, share the same bed, and build the same life, yet often feel misunderstood. Men frequently say, "She doesn't understand what I'm carrying." Women often say, "He doesn't understand what I need." Tonight, Antonio and I are having an honest conversation about what men wish women understood and what women wish men understood, and how understanding can transform a relationship. So, Antonio, this is going to be an amazing conversation because I think that this is the consensus of all the men and women in the world.
I agree. I'm excited for this conversation. And fellas, I got y'all, man. I got y'all.
Yes. So tell me, what do you think about this? Because this is a big thing. What men wish women understood and what women wish men understood.
I think just starting out, Margot, I think understanding changes things.
I agree.
And I think men and women, we both at a place where we no longer understand each other. So for the sake of this conversation, Margot, I am only speaking from a man's point of view.
Clear it up.
I'm speaking from a man point of view.
Okay. And if there's anything that you need to address to me directly that I do that we need to discuss that I'm doing, this is the time on the platform to address me. But I'm going to let you go ahead and be on your man campaign tangent for this episode so that you can speak up for the men. But ladies, listen, I will represent for us.
Hey, fellas, watch this. Watch me work. So the first thing we're going to do, I want to start, we always say ladies first. Honestly speaking, what is the main thing that you wish, women wish, that men would know?
I think it's true what I said in the intro. Women that I've encountered in different spaces, different levels of life, different things going on, the most common thing that I'm hearing from women is that they're feeling like there is still more that their husband isn't providing for them. They are needing more, whether it's more emotionally, whether it's more, paying attention to her needs, whether it's, I'm needing my husband to lead more in spaces, whether it's I'm needing my husband to make more decisions or to communicate more. It's those conversations that are, being talked about more so in the women's space in our communities.
Yeah. I think to that point, just a man hearing it and the things that I hear, we're not clear on what it is y'all need. It's like, it's so many things that y'all need. It's so many. And y'all and the thing of it is, y'all get so unclear and like, you just should know. And the thing with men, if you don't know what you need, how do you really expect us to know what it is you guys need?
I'm speaking today and representing for the sisters that can communicate and know how to speak about the things that she needs from her man. What we're talking about is they're feeling like their husbands aren't planning anything. The husbands aren't planning the dates. They're not planning anything for their birthdays. They're not planning anything with the kids. If they're not planning it, it doesn't happen for the entire family. So that's one of the concerns that, I hear women often talk about that they're facing in their marriage with men. Yeah.
Well, I don't think men should be not planning things. I do think we should be a part of the planning process. I do feel what I'm hearing from men is every time we try to plan something, y'all don't like our idea. So let's just use the point of, babe, what you want to eat? Every household have went through that. And the man say, hey, I want a burger. Well, I don't want a burger. Okay, I want pizza. I don't want pizza. And it's little things like that that teach men at times, do my opinion matters? And nobody wants to keep lending their opinion where it's not mattered at. And so no excuses, but I do think women do have to understand that they're not always receptive to the leadership that they claim they want.
That's fair. I get what you're saying as far as that's concerned. And my question to you is, do you feel like as a man, a conversation should be had about that?
Yes.
Honestly, I feel like this is where the ball get dropped a lot of times in relationships, because if I'm having an issue with you allowing me to lead, we should have a conversation about this before I decide to check out. I feel like in relationships and marriages, so often people get in their feelings and don't talk about the things that they should talk about.
Yes.
So my thing is that when it comes to planning things, I feel like that should be, just two things: either a shared responsibility of thoughtfulness in your relationship, or if you have someone that's more available to plan. Just like, for instance, with you and I.
Okay.
On trips, I pretty much plan the trip. I pretty much take care of the airport, the plane tickets, the hotel, and all the things. You make sure that where we need to be to take the trips that we need to take financially. So the thing is that we have a system, but a lot of people don't discuss that. And that's where the understanding breakdown and the communication breakdown happens.
Yeah. And to your point, the biggest issue with men and women is how we communicate. That is the biggest thing. And I can tell you, with men, we are really struggling to reach you guys. I can honestly tell you, you guys have a takeover spirit with communicating, and we are forced to communicate to your styles. I feel, and most men feel, and you guys have no responsibility or obligation to meet us. That's how it feels. And I would love for us to get to a space where we all understand that we communicate differently. The way you receive things and the way you process things are going to be different from me. And what a lot of men come to me with is, wife always say, if it was me. She's right, but it's not you. We do things differently. And I think with the communication with men, I think we really have to understand our communication style is different.
No, I get that. I get that communication styles are different. I totally agree with that. And I think that goes without saying in some sense. What I'm talking about is the fact that I feel like in relationships, everyone have a duty and a responsibility to each other to show up and have certain conversations. Absolutely. So what I realize is in this space, a lot of men are having emotions and feelings that they're not discussing.
Yes.
So what's happening is they're shutting down in the marriages. They're not showing up in the space. Neither are they having the conversations.
Correct.
And so that's where my thing comes, where I don't understand, because I feel as if you can have a lot of feelings and emotions about a lot of things. But if you're not opening your mouth and if you're not talking about it, if you're not addressing what's happening, where is the real resolve? And so what I'm witnessing a lot is you have people that's been married 10, 15, 20 years in marriages, and they're simply unhealthy, but don't nobody want to have a real conversation about what's going on. Now, I can sit with my homeboys and tell my homeboys everything that I got going on. I can sit and tell my homeboy about how I'm being mistreated and how this is happening with me. But in my home, I've taken a decision to be silent and not address certain concerns.
You know what? You're right. And I think is a big piece that I think is going to take ownership on both parts. And I think we really got to start dealing with it. The biggest thing with men is when we try to talk, we're always interrupted. So when we come to you with an issue, nobody want to most men feel like when I come to you and I bring an issue to you that I have with you, some kind of way, it ended up being my fault. And if I walk into that wall 20 times, at some point, I'm going to stop walking into that wall.
Right. Make a decision, though,
Absolutely.
Antonio. That's what I say. What I don't
Absolutely.
respect is the men that stay in marriages 10, 15, 20, 25 years and decide to check out on the job.
Correct.
My thing is this, and I feel the same for men and both women. If you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to have the conversations, if you're that defeated that you can't sit and tell your wife, listen, honey, I don't like the way you talk to me. This will not be tolerated. Listen, babe, listen, when I talk to you about this, I need you to hear me. Babe, I need to lead the family. If you can't have those kind of conversations, you need to find you another situation. That's how I feel.
And when I tell you, you are 1,000% right. But I'm saying if we're 50%, he definitely should be willing to have the conversation. But I think we have to start talking about women. Y'all have to stop over talking.
No, I get that.
Stop doing
let me tell you
because
something.
the thing with it is frustrating and it is impossible for somebody to lead or talk to somebody that don't listen.
I totally agree. And women, we should definitely start watching how we respond. We definitely should do that. But it's time for men to start leading our families. We're at a deficit. Our community, the ladies, we're leading our communities. We're the one praying and holding us down. We're the ones taking care of the children. We're the ones doing all of the things right now in our community. So at the end of the day, we have to be real about the positions that we've been placed as women have made us be a certain way. We've had to be independent in spaces to rear and take care of our children. We've had to work overtime for fathers who aren't taking care of their children or paying child support. So when you're living your life like that and you're dealing with all of those obstacles with the lack of men in our community and stepping up and having something to say, it does causes the woman to be overwhelmed. It does cause the woman to be more masculine in the community than she should be. It causes a lot of things. And what I see and witness is the men are taking more of a back seat in our families. The men are taking more of the I'ma shy away and not talk about this in the situation. And we have to really have this conversation and talk about it, because if men are going to lead, then it's things that come with you being a man that you have to implement in your families.
When I tell you, I think I can agree with you 100% in what you're saying. And to put that accountability on the men, rightfully so, yes. It is that men are not leading the way they should lead. The other part of it is women is taking pride in leading, meaning this: a man has to go back and forth with a woman about disciplining his child. So everybody is out of whack right now. And so we have to have a conversation, because like I appreciate what you brought, what women need and what they feel men need to know. And I want to switch gears a little bit just for the men part. And I think one thing I think we want our women to know, and I'm sure all men can roll with me with this: when we bring something to you that's a problem that we're having, we don't even want you to fix it. Let's just say we're complaining about the kids. Let's just say we have an issue with, let's just say one of the kids won't keep gas in the car or won't clean his room. That's the most common thing with kids. When I bring that to you as a man, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm just venting to my wife or my person, and I want us to come up with a plan. What I'm hearing a lot from men when they bring stuff to you, we need women to stop being so offended when we bring things to them that has nothing to do with them. Like, if we're talking about the kids in the house, we don't have an issue with you. So I want to know, why is it that women get offended and take everything so personal when we're not even, we don't have one issue with you?
Well, the thing is, Antonio, I'm glad you brought that up, because we had an issue with that in our marriage previously that we actually talked about it in therapy about. A lot of times when it comes to how men communicate, it can come from a very authoritative space if you're not careful, right? Because, you know, men, y'all got egos. Y'all have pride. You know, it's the different things that y'all wake up with and walk around with. And women, we do too. But when you're leading in spaces, what we had to address was, because I felt like every time you brought something to me, you know, you was coming at me with it, and I had to figure out how to fix it. Well, a lot of that came from your tone and what you spoke and what you came. And so I think a lot of that is, you know, that's a space that you can definitely look at. You know, how am I bringing this conversation to my partner? Am I coming to them like I'm telling them what needs to be done? Or am I coming to my partner and say, you know, babe, listen, you know, I know, you know, our daughter had the car, but she hasn't put gas in it, and we definitely need to have this conversation with her, because that has to happen. Versus, you know, I'm tired of her rocking. She don't got gas in the car. You can convey something to your partner, the same thing in two different ways to get something back.
This is really good. And live moment, this is really good. That is the issue that men have. And let me break it down to you. It's almost like y'all have to tell us how to communicate, and it sounds like the way y'all would communicate. But the reality of it is, as a dad who have talked to my daughter 5 times about it, that's how I want to say it. I am frustrated with it. And my thing of it is, when you try to put us in the box to act like y'all, you get the shit down. That's why I'm happy we had this conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I can tell you, that's what it looked like. So when we bring things to y'all, we're constantly reminded that it should look like the way y'all want it to look. Now, I will say this. It is your responsibility to package things.
Absolutely, because that's communication.
No, absolutely, it is. But what is going on now, honestly, women have overtaken what's acceptable and what men are shrinking in relationship. And we got to talk about it, because what's going to happen, we're going to keep having conversations about why men shrinking. And I'm telling you why. It's because of moments like this, we're forced to behave like y'all, and we can't. It's not in us. And I'm going to say that to say this. Imagine us asking you to be more aggressive in a certain way. And what I'm saying, you said it, when y'all are put in situations to act like us, y'all act more aggressive. Like you said, y'all have to survive now. So y'all act in a certain way. And what happens, I'm going to give it to you real. When y'all are single, y'all develop man characteristics.
Because the man is absent.
Now, but when y'all get in a relationship, y'all still acting man and y'all force us to try to be women to coexist with you guys.
I get
and
that.
That's what we have to start working on.
And you know what, Tonio, I totally agree with that part with men, feeling like they have to take a certain stance. But what I do understand about relationship, you can't be in a relationship with nobody if you want to remain the same.
Absolutely.
Right? So relationship causes you to be different.
Absolutely.
So you will be asked to communicate different.
Grace is the word we use.
Well, different. So
Okay.
in the relationship, when I got in a relationship with you, it was some things that I had to change and be different. So just because I felt like I wanted to talk to you a certain kind of way, I felt like I was a woman who held my own and I should be able to express a certain way. There was things that I had to curtail in order for you to be able to receive my communication. So I get what you're saying. And in a good world and in a world where everybody want to be and do whatever they want to do, it is great to say, that women want men to dummy down. But what you have to understand is if you are a man, and that's leadership, if you are in any leadership position and you are not able to communicate to the people who are around you and the people that you need to effectively move and do things, your communication will always be null and void.
Yep.
So to your point about men feeling like they have to shrink, a lot of that comes from, and I can say this, men who haven't been around other men, men who haven't had fathers and grandfathers, men who were raised by a mother that coddled them in moments and put them in positions where they didn't have to stand in hard seasons. So a lot of that men shrinking in those moments versus my granddaddy who would stand up to my grandmother and say, oh no, Wilhelmina, you're not going to handle me this way. Or no, this is how we're going to handle this, that, and the third. Men have been raised by their mothers and conditioned to shrink in space. So we got to have that conversation too, because guess what, Antonio? I don't care what happens. You're not going to shrink in any situation I put you in because who you are as a man. And so I think we have to be honest about the positions that men are deciding to take in our families and in our communities.
Oh, I mean, I can agree with you 1,000%. What you're saying with men in the shrinking. And I will keep saying it, and we all say it. The problem become when we have to get you guys to understand something. I can understand completely where men need to be. The struggle become women have to understand the masculinity at times is unnecessary.
I get it.
And the thing of it is, you use the word men talk authority. A leader's supposed to talk with authority.
I get
you
that.
Cannot. So,
but you have to be effective in your communication.
Oh no, absolutely. And what goes on is in our community at times, people are not used to seeing certain things. And it's to your point. Men were not used to seeing what men look like.
Right.
To the same point, the same women are not used to seeing it. So
I get
she
that.
used to seeing Grandma Wilhelmina tell everybody what to do.
Absolutely.
And so when she get in a situation with a man that can lead her, she's still stuck in the same mindset.
But where is the space and room to grow and be different? Where is the space as a woman to say, you know what? I choose not to handle my husband like this. I choose not to talk to my husband like this. Where is room for men to say, you know what? I need to stand up in my family. I decided to marry someone that overtalked me. I decided to marry a woman that behaved like something that was familiar to me for whatever reason. So at this point, what do I do as a man to step up and say, no, babe, you're not going to handle me like this. I'm a man. This is my son. I'm going to raise my child. Everybody has a duty and obligation to stand up to whom they need to be in the relationship, both men and women.
Yeah. You absolutely right. And like to your point, I think if men are very intentional about being leaders and women are very intentional about, and I hate saying this, allowing him to lead, but that's where we at now. And I feel men are understanding where they're lacking at. I don't think women really owning the fact where they're at. I still think it was a point of the finger. I'm like this because men. And where we're standing at, we're just saying we have to get better. And what I'm saying is we need that from y'all. It's always a point of the finger with women and what goes on. And with men, we have to say everything you're saying. I would sit and tell you, man, we just have to get better.
Well, the thing is, I respect you sitting and representing for the men, but unfortunately, that's not true.
What's not true?
Both men and women sit in a space where they feel like what's happening is nothing wrong with it. That's why it's continuing. So men are not standing at the podium saying, hey, listen, I'm wrong and I need to do better. I need to lead better. Men aren't doing that. So we could be very clear about that, because if men was doing it or if women was doing it, this situation wouldn't exist. It exists only because people are making a choice to exist in relationships where the men aren't in position where they can really speak their mind and say the things that they need to say. And the women have bad behaviors. We're disrespectful. We don't allow our men to speak. And we feel like we want to run everything. So my thing and my question is, what do we do that now this is the situation? Because everybody is where they are. In marriages and families, they're in trouble because this is what's happening in real time.
Yeah, I think to your point, what has to happen is people like me and you who can hold ourselves accountable, we have to hold other people accountable. That's why, as I'm sitting here, my whole thing is, men, you have to get better in that field. You have to be a leader. You have to do that. And what we need as men, we need women like you to say, women, do what y'all need to do without blaming them. Because I know what we've been through, and I know you know how it should be done.
Absolutely.
And what I think, and you're totally right. I am a person. I'm gonna hold every man around me accountable. If I feel like you cowering down, you doing what you need to do, not doing what you need to do, I'm gonna have that particular conversation with you.
Well, I could be totally honest with you, Antonio. Anybody who's in my presence, even like this, when I had the event in Washington, D.C., we can definitely sit around and talk about what women should do. I definitely talk about the importance of praying and covering your husband, how important that is for you, making sure you touch your husband, you pray for him, you write him in your prayer book, you ask God to protect him. It's things that you should do. And also, too, even when the marriage is in a space, put your marriage in your prayer book. But not only that, put you in your prayer book. What is it that you need to get better at? What is it that you need to change? What is it that you want to do different in your marriage? So the thing is that I just feel like the understanding between men and women is something that can happen on both ends.
Of course.
But I think it has to be something that both parties decide to make a wholehearted decision to say, you know what, listen, this is what I want to work on. Because it's definitely fixable. It can be worked on. But I think everybody have to accept, women, we have to accept the fact that we are wanting to control everything. We have to accept that we're wanting to lead our husbands in homes. We're wanting to tell everybody what to do, but still wanting our husbands to still support us and be there for us and lead us. But there can't be two heads in no home ever. And so we have to understand that.
Yeah, I agree. And also to switch, I do think the whole intimacy thing as well with men. We need you guys to know that intimacy with us, it's more of a connection more than anything with us. We need you guys to know it's not about us having sex. We need the connection. We need to touch you guys. That's something that we want. I think women really need to understand as well. We just need the connection.
Well, I think a lot of times once you get into that space where the intimate space is connected, a lot has happened emotionally, honestly. Because let's be clear, most husband and wives, what I would love to believe today, are attracted to each other. You know, you have that physical attraction. At some point, you got married.
That's assumption.
Well, I would hope so before you went and signed them papers, baby, and had your family spend their money on their nice dresses, Margo, that you realize that this is a person that you are attracted to for real.
We know people get married for situations.
I get that part too, but I'm just talking about the intimate space. What I realize, and we're just speaking with couples and people that are in relationships, a lot of times when that intimate space is affected like that, a lot of things are lacking emotionally. There's no stimulation. Like you said, there's no touching. There's no, I'm not checking in on you. We're not texting and calling and doing the things that we need to do.
Yeah, I think, okay, I understand that. I just want women to understand how important intimacy is to men. It's not something that can be put on the shelf. It's not something that it can be interchanged.
Well, I don't agree that it should be used for switch and bait. I don't feel that it should be. But I do feel like intimacy is a beautiful thing in a thriving relationship, but it has to be nourished.
I agree.
So it's not just, this
nourished,
is what I need.
Weaponized.
Nourished, not weaponized, but also nourished being, emotionally stimulating. Really just...
I like this conversation.
Being emotionally stimulating. I remember when we first met, I don't know if you do it now, but when we first met, you used to say how you used to work on it all day. Like when we used to get home at night, honey, I didn't got 15 texts. I didn't got a picture. I didn't got a sticky note on my steering wheel. Honey, he done marinated me all day, okay? So by the time I get home from work, honey, I can't not wait to see my husband. I am over the moon, and so on and so forth. And so listen, ladies, we could do the same thing. We could serenade our man. We could leave a little sticky note on his... We could leave a sticky note on his window. We could have his, boxes and t-shirt ready for him to take a bath. We could do all those things. So I feel like with the intimacy space, we have to do those soft gestures, those thoughtful things to keep the intimacy blooming on both ends.
No, so again, I'm loving this conversation, and I know you don't mean tick for tat, but I'm telling you, for men, everything with us, it seems that way. It seems like everything we do, we have to perform to get it.
You don't have to perform.
No, but I'm telling you how I feel, because this the thing, right? The most important thing to a woman is her security. All she have to do is show up to get security. The most important thing to a man is intimacy. We still have 5 things we have to do.
I thought you said you wanted a connection. I thought the intimacy was for connection and not just intimacy. So that's why I was trying to give the viewers things they can do to tap into a connection. I didn't know you was just saying that's the most important and that's what men want. I was trying to help the viewers do what you said men needed, a connection. The intimacy was a connection. So I was talking to the people about how to connect.
So guys, we get to see it in live when we talk about the cutoff. This is what we get to see in live. So ladies, I'm going to finish
connection.
So yes, the connection, but the intimacy, like in all seriousness. So the intimacy, so I said, it's the most important thing for us. And I'm sure women know that. We make that known. And like you guys make your security known. And what I'm saying is, we do not give you guys a list of things you have to do for us to keep a roof over your head and to keep you secure. And what I'm saying with intimacy, lady, y'all need to deal with that.
I do have a list.
Okay.
Tonio. Okay. Women we don't live rent free.
That's not,
instability.
That's not.
We have to cook. We got to clean. We got to make sure you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I love the point.
It's things we're responsible for too.
I love the point, but what I'm telling you, if you don't do all that, you're not going to get put outside. Is what I'm saying. What happened with you guys? We don't do certain things. You guys act like the intimacy can't happen. So you're saying everything that I am.
If I don't take care of my husband in my house, I leave room for me to be outside. If you don't take care of me and do what you need to do with me as your wife, you're going to be outside. That's just what's going to happen.
I actually love this conversation because I think everybody really seeing how things play out. See, I'm telling you, when it's
gonna be real, folks.
When it's time for men to put their things on the table, the conversation becomes a 10-minute conversation. Whenever women need what they need, it be, you know what, baby, you're right, I'm going to get to it. I'm telling you, and I'm saying, you ladies, y'all have to fix that.
What we have to fix, Antonio?
Just this. I am sitting here telling you that intimacy is the most important thing to men. And it's nothing that we should have to jump through loops to get, because with your security, it's nothing you have to jump through loops to get it.
Right.
You will have somewhere to stay and you will be secure in spite of how you act. And what I'm saying with intimacy with men, stay connected with us. Stay intimate with us no matter what, because it's very important to us.
Right.
And in all seriousness, ladies, it's very important. It is a need for us. If you play with a man intimacy, you're going to play with the relationship. And that's serious.
And I understand that. And just the same with women. When you play with a woman's stability, you play with her life.
I agree.
And so that's what happens. So at the end of the day, what I understand today, after 12 years of marriage, in order for me to have a safe space and have the safety that I have in my life, it's things that I have to do for my family, for my husband. And the same for my husband after 12 years of marriage. Our intimacy is where it's at because it's things that we have to do to stay connected. And so listen, guys, marriage is work. It's not one thing where people can stand at a space and feel like, I need this, I need that. We need things. And so you have to be willing and able to put in the work real time on both ends to make sure everybody is getting what they need in real time.
I so agree.
All right, guys. So listen, this was an amazing conversation. I'm glad we talked about this because it's important that men and women understand that we're different.
Yes.
But it's so important that we have an understanding. So thank you for joining us tonight for the Love Rekindle Show, where real conversations meet real healing and where love is not just restored, but reborn. Remember this, strong relationships aren't built in grand moments, guys, but in daily choices. Choosing grace, choosing growth, and choosing each other. A special thank you to our amazing sponsor, Platinum Luxury Fleet. If you are in need of luxury black car service worldwide, visit PlatinumLuxuryFleet.com. For all of your transportation needs, professionalism, style, and comfort, schedule your services with them today. This show is also sponsored by M5 and Associates, a team of licensed financial professionals committed to changing the financial trajectory of our communities through education, empowerment, and financial literacy. Their mission is to equip individuals and families with the knowledge, tools, and strategies needed to achieve financial independence and build lasting wealth. To learn more, visit m5andassociates.com. Until next time, keep loving, keep growing, and keep rekindling what matters most. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
See y'all next time, guys.
See you next time.